Media has always gone along when it comes to me with the policy of trumped up charges. Perhaps you've heard the expression trumped up charges before. We know the name Trump now. Long before we knew the name Trump, we knew the expression trumped up charges. Now that we know who Trump is, I consider it unlikely that such a man wouldn't make himself an expert at trumping up charges. When I came home from the Governor's School for the Arts, I faced trumped up charges of armed robbery. When I was brutally tortured as a child, I faced trumped up charges of having fun with the people who kidnapped me. When I was a student journalist, I faced trumped up charges of framing Ronald Reagan. As it turns out, these trumped up charges were necessary trumped up charges to make it clear that anybody who tried to get the truth would be cruelly, cruelly punished. The details of how viciously I have been tortured with the consent of media is long and truly evil. One of the things that's very interesting is that they depict what they're doing today, for example, as counterinsurgency. Counterinsurgency meaning action by the media to prevent the media from telling the truth. I got a message from a character who is of the type that has long worked with Trump. Back in the days when rebellion on campus was smiled upon by peers, and persons like the Helden warrior David Bowie were gratifying themselves, secretly spreading currency to the effect that there was a secret treaty that Ronald Reagan would never be named, that Donald Trump would always be the winner. And these people like Peter Shell at CMU who were working with pornographers who held me in hostage as a child, and quality control mavericks in language arts who were sabotaging recovery from torture by masquerading as being in freedom of speech when what they wanted was to hear things on tape that could be misconstrued in many, many languages. Like Jaime Carbonell, Peter Shaw had a sister who was a communist, supposedly, and he ran around with people who were selling Native American stories for rusted root, covering for the AIDS attack by selling justifications for Mount Desert Island, and working together through Ramsey Clark, who was a friend of Peter Shaw, with Mumia, getting Mumia in line, getting North Korea in line with Donald Trump's series of outrages. They were always from Warpo World. They see me as somebody who has been annihilated with humiliation justifiably, and they ask me, wouldn't you agree that Uncle Sam has his nose everywhere? What Uncle Sam really wants, heh heh heh. And this allows Trump to offer me for sport as a doll like cow hooves for a dog to chew. A voodoo doll, Uncle Sam. And they say that identity politics are no good. That people who are free of identity politics become happy workers in the socialist state. Prison laborers with a smile. And if you go against identity politics in any way, shine a light on the way that they use the celebrity superstate to pick and choose in their covert action community. Celebrities to survive, while members of Gilligan's Island die, while individuals get cowhooved to the process that they find so noble. Drawing straws is what AIDS and COVID is to them. Some people got the short straw. Well, the people who planned this, in my opinion, should be considered all as having drawn a short straw. They didn't consult us. They didn't get our permission. They just gave us outer limits and moody blues, cold-hearted orbs who rule the night. And we decide what is right and what is illusion, while hiding their sickening hand. How many times did I warn people that the evidence was clear that Mount Desert Island was planned? I did it before I had any evidence concerning Reagan. I hadn't dug into the semiotics of Axis cinema in Hollywood. But we know that Trump is a favored bully boy of the Royal Church, where Queen Elizabeth is a buddy of Billy Graham's. And we know that Kennedy had refused Northwoods before he was killed. We see in the Oswald Diary of Life, 1964 commercial, East will never meet West except over a bowl of Rice Krispies, and the bowl seems to be empty. What's this about? Not enough not enough food to feed a sparrow, they say in the Warren Report. And we get Gary Hart going out with Donna Rice and saying, "Where's the beef?" If we keep sleeping with Donna, we're going to end up all eating rice. Where's the beef? And they set up an ecological demonstration project on Mount Desert Island about the liberal who just wants to sleep with pretty girls. And it was obvious what was going on. They had shut down my call for a community of orientation around ecology. And now they want to bring in Greta Thunberg to call the tune for the Greta good. Now that we've all seen them burn away the carbon and their pranks with carbon out at CMU, and Taoists of riddle, get rid of them all, riddle in Jenkintown. So there's no point denying that when the UN leader comes out and says this might not be the big one, that we should start taking precautions. And one of the precautions we should take is put him in a straitjacket and put him in somewhere safe. It's insane asylum for people who do this sort of thing. Northwoods was a plan for America to attack itself, to start war on people who didn't want to fight us. And Kennedy said no. This is all rice woods. He didn't want to get into depopulation. He wanted to make peace and see if we could work it out. They trumped up the idea that he was breeding like jackrabbits. Oswald the rabbit was the symbol of the liberals breeding like jackrabbits. And they had a vivisection expert who called Joe Young, Coup Guy, because he was the black kid who teamed up with the clucker from Idaho. And two of them didn't like the weak white liberals, so you get the strong black man and the clucker guy teaming up, Coup Guy, on the liberal. And that's how they get the Christian action going. And how do we know Mark Chapman and John Lennon worked together? Is from the symbolism. See, he's got how I won the war, the red stripe of Leslie Katz's hoochie on his chin. Then we get Chapman in Thailand magazines with Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear on his chin. Greg Carl used to say the bewildering myriad of surface details and morphology of fairy tales, chinny chin chin. They even had a girl right next door to Katz named Chinny. And of course they come with Christian mavericks. We must fight against pornography. So we know what's going on. It's all been true is what's been going on. None of you have the gall to say anything about it is what's true. Naturally enough, they've got Mumia and Trump teaming up on neoliberals. And they want to massacre a deaf kid. He's 60 years old with diabetes who they tortured. I don't want to tell you the shitty things they did. They're too cosmic with evil. And they have Mars lack, right? Dee Dee had lost her virginity. And Leslie was playing with virginity on the chinny chin chin. They have Mars lack. A weasel whipped my flesh, you see. They had it all hoochie-hoochied up to virginity because the male ego of the posse comitatus and the coup guys can't hack it when somebody got jilted by their girl before they married her. That rankles in the soul of the Christian, they say. So we don't know what went on behind the locked doors of Kennedy's last intimacies. But as Dan Rather likes to say, we know what could have gone on behind those doors. And we're free to speculate and get mad, get very mad, show them what America really is made of, and so on.